Yeah. uh-huh. Yeah. Shit. Grams leaders CC's pounds. Close cash, close call, close encounter, close up, pounds of, liters of, grams, get your dose up, cut this up, post up, and get dosed up. This for voted like the move and make the most of. Monday night at 8, I can't wait to set you straight. These opinions and debates, for them folk they can't relate. I gotta elevate your mind through these signs of the time. Dishing out that medication for that deaf, dumb and blind. And I ain't hard to find, you can catch me in those trenches. I do the groundwork and I ain't waiting on no sense. I be touching on them topics politicians fail to mention. And I don't vote for nobody that ain't got good intentions. I'm relentless for my people and I'm here to make a change. I got that true serum hooked directly through your veins. Hey, this is for my people, tune in, catch a close up, close up, close up, a close up, grams of it, tune in, liters of it, close up, pounds of it. Pounds of it, yeah, grams of it, liters of pounds, get your dosed up, dosed up, dosed up, dosed up.
Yep. I needed all that. Them echoes, them pa. Yeah. Here we go. All right, y'all. So y'all know it's Monday night. Show is dosed up.
That's right.
I'm one of the hosts with the most. They call me Shooter, aka Dose, and that guy that's bringing that laughter and joy that you hear on the other end. That's my man DJ Lab.
What's going on, brother? It's
well,
Monday.
Yeah. Another Monday, man. Little weekend recap. It was all about business. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Secured a little bit of credit on what I needed to do, while pretty much sending out all the skits and whatever the itinerary is that we got going on for this upcoming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I sent all that out so everybody can be prepared and ready.
Okay, so these skits you wrote.
Yeah.
Because I remember last time we talked, you said
yeah.
you was gonna be writing the skits now.
Yeah.
Producing them. So that's what's going on with you, right?
Yeah, that. But I also got my objectives from my other folks that do skits.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm prepared, you know what I'm saying, to get into just acting mode with them rather than producing in acting mode. And that's funny too because I've been thinking and all of the skits that I'm writing, I'm in or I'm a part of.
Right.
So I'm actually gonna end up writing a few of them where I'm not in it.
Okay.
You know, I want to just see what I got going on with me just being on the outside looking in, like I know I wrote all of that.
Right.
And
right.
let me see if they can get it off. The only reason why I'm in all of them now is simply because I'm trying to develop a certain type of comedy, and the delivery has to be a certain way.
Right.
So,
I get what you're saying.
So, you know, it's almost like I'm coaching everybody that I'm going to be with.
Okay.
And then eventually I'm going to take myself out that equation and pair them all up together with it.
So basically you trying to see if they're going to be able to make your vision come to life. That's what you're doing, right?
So I'm hands-on right now, you know, and also because I saw things kind of go to the left a little bit with whatever I was doing with another group. And it's like, at least let's just get a formula out there.
Right.
And that's what this is right now.
Okay.
But like I say, I got plans on writing myself up out of some of them.
And then you just gonna sit back and see how they interpret what you're writing. Let me ask you a question. Are you gonna use that as a learning tool? Like,
yep.
Okay, I need to maybe interpret this a little differently.
Yep. That's exactly why I'm doing it. I want to see hands off. I want to see with me being involved. I'm gonna do it through all genres though. Okay. So when I start them out on some mystery, I'm gonna be in it. If I start them out on something like, you know, suspense, I'm gonna be in it. Motivational, whatever genre. Yeah, but I mean, I might not be in as many of them though.
Okay. So you think eventually you'll do a few and then you'll take yourself out of.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can respect that because, you know, sometimes as the producer, director, and writer, you wanna see if your vision is interpreted without you actually being in it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are interpreting it properly without actually being in the skit or in the movie or whatever the case may be, if it's interpreted properly.
it's a lot of work too, having to write it and then having to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easier because I'm doing that. But another reason why I want to do that and wean myself out of them is because I don't want to just, I want to write more than just 3-minute skits.
Okay.
And so like to have to write something really long or longer scenes and to think I got to do all this act, double back and act. No. So some of them, you know, I'll just be writing longer scenes and it's specifically for a particular person.
Okay. Okay.
And the role they got going on.
Okay, I can respect that. So what we got going on today?
So, all right, today's topic, you know, we just recently had some, like, I call them, like, to me, they catastrophic. You know what I'm saying? If you have some events like those hurricanes and the floods that were just happening, a lot of people say that, you know, they kind of want to just start trying to live off the grid, or we could say live off the land, per se, a little bit of both. And I just heard, like, some complaints from some people that were affected, you know what I'm saying, by these natural events.
Okay.
And one of them was like, you know, the bridge went out and can't nobody get to us.
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, if you living off the land and you living off the grid and things like that, you're not necessarily expecting people to get to you anyway.
Right.
But now I'm not saying that like that's what they wanted.
Right.
I'm just saying, you know, realistically, and when you're thinking like this, if this is your goal, then that's what you were going to be expecting. But there's a lot more that goes to it. And most of the people that I see that can be self-sufficient, either off the grid or off the land, had a lot of money at one point or something. You know, it take a lot of money to be invested in this. If you're not, how can I say, like, indigenous to the land already or something like that.
Right. Living off the land is a skill. You have to you have to actually know how to do that properly in order to do it in the best way that's conducive for you and your family, if you have a family to live off there. But let me ask you a question. Then we were talking off camera. I think we were saying that living off the grid and living off the land may be two different things.
It is, but to be honest with you, you can at some point they may fuse, and it just depends on what route you're taking. But okay, so when they say living off the grid, it would be mainly you're basically going to be providing your own power, maybe sewer system and water.
Okay.
All right, so to live off the land, that's damn near the same. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I thought you act well. I guess so. I thought that some people can live off the land, meaning
unless they just want to grow their own stuff, but they still got power going.
Right.
Well, I mean, you know, that's cool. So we're gonna stick within the off the grid.
Okay.
And so off the grid, you definitely gonna have to learn how to grow something or learn how to hunt something.
Right.
But when you encounter trying to grow something, do you actually know the seasons to plant? Do you know what grows best on the property that you're trying to grow it on?
The soil.
Yeah. Also, do you know how to till and you know, irrigate your land? Do you have methods to keep your whatever you're growing protected from nature? Meaning the weeds, meaning the critters, the insects, the animals that's gonna want to get it. You know, that's an important part of that. A lot of times, when you just say that you know how to grow something, yeah, you can grow it, but protecting it, man. I mean, you know, you're gonna end up using like braided fence or something like that, or wires.
Right.
You're gonna need basically some wood, or you can say logs, or if you don't have the logs, like I say, wood. You're gonna cut your wood. You know what I'm saying? And how do you cut your wood if you're living off the grid? Because you might have to have a power tool to do that, or you can get you a saw. I mean, you know, there's old school saws, and you can go ahead and do that. Then how you gonna you can measure. I'll give it to you. You can go ahead and get off the grid and have your little tape measurer. We'll give you certain things. We'll spot you certain tools.
Slick says living off the land is more of food, more so food.
Yeah,
living off
it
the
is.
grid is power, lights, water, and shelter are provided by you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Now that is what's difficult.
That part right there. Power, water, and shelter.
Yep. And so I did a little bit of research on that when you're doing it. Yeah. Oh, no. It didn't even say shelter.
Okay.
You said power. It's power, sewer, and water. You got to provide the shelter as well. You got to make that. You got to build that.
Well, they say all three of them you got to provide though.
Yeah.
Off the grid, you got to provide all of them. Even no matter how you do it,
Yep.
you provide your own shelter, your own water, your own sewer, and your own electricity.
So let's say I can tell you this:
But
you
they
ain't
say it's
gonna
no
want to.
bills. Slick say the good part is there's no bills.
That's not necessarily.
As far as like electric bill, water bill.
Yeah, right.
There's no
Okay.
water bill.
There's
you
no
provide it
water
yourself.
bill,
No
but we're
electric bill.
okay. So now, with that being said, how much land do you want, and where are you when you do this off the grid? Because there's no water bill, but you gonna have to poop, and it's gonna have to go somewhere.
You provide that too.
Clearly, you do. You got to dig that up, pretty much, because you definitely don't want to put it where your water is, because now you contaminate, you cross contaminate.
Or you definitely don't want to put it where animals can smell it and come onto your land. Because
Exactly.
If you are in the woods,
So yep. So where do you put your garbage at, by the way?
Oh yeah.
You see, how far do you move these things from yourself? Because now you got to remember where it is if you want to consistently use.
Right. Well, I know that some people would use burn. They burn the garbage. They burn
You can do
pits
that.
and stuff like that.
Or they create pits.
You're right. And bury it. I like the burning part better. But go ahead and continue.
Okay, so now with the water situation, how do you catch it?
Right. And then once you catch it, how do you purify it?
Well, see, that's the thing, because what I saw, it looked like it was cheating. Like they built their little hut or they built a little shelter, and you got gutters on it. So that's gonna catch rainwater if you have a reservoir or a tank a water tank, something. I mean, like hell, cities got water tanks and water reservoirs. So okay, but now, technically, if you living off the grid, do you have that or don't you?
The water tank?
Yeah. Or do you just have a well?
I guess it depends on the person.
Or do you have neither?
Now you gotta have somewhere to.
Oh,
to
yeah.
catch water.
Okay, well,
You got to have somewhere to catch water.
There's a lot of people that be
off the
like, they be having this conversation with me. So I'm just curious, because I'm not the one that's saying I'm finna run off the grid real quick. Because I already know it's a lot more difficult than what it sounds like. Your anger doesn't equate to, you mad, I know, but that don't mean that you gonna have it easy.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna live off the grid today.
Yeah.
Okay. How that go? Like I say, you gonna catch and purify your water.
That living off the grid is a difficult proposition. Difficult.
Clearly.
Difficult.
Oh no. Okay, I asked this question to some people. Can you even read a map, or do you know how to read a compass to determine the direction you in?
Right.
I'm just saying. Okay,
So
you might not want to get lost where you at.
So they say you can have both sewer and a tank. I mean, well and a tank.
You can, right?
Yeah.
But do you know if that's on the land that you just decide you want to go off the grid on?
Right.
It's got to be there first.
The well, you could dig a well.
Okay, so
You could dig, we're talking
how
about
do you
money.
know where to dig?
We're talking about
thank
money.
you. Okay, I finna
Right.
say
You
no.
could dig a well.
No. We talking about you don't get no bobcat.
Right.
You living off the grid. So
Oh, they use bobcats. Have you not seen the show?
yes.
No,
You said a show. That's not even off the grid. It's on damn internet.
No,
we
we're
know.
talking about
No,
off
all right,
the grid
okay,
shows
so
that show people
what I
how they're
want.
building off the grid.
That sounds luxurious, bruh. I'm talking about off the grid, and you damn near living like you ain't.
Also, you talking about digging the well with your hand?
A shovel?
Okay, well, shit, you'll never get it done. Then.
Hey.
You know how far you gotta go down?
Hey, but these people say they living off the grid. Do they look like they can afford a bobcat? So I'm just saying. I'm saying maybe a wild bobcat, but you can't afford nothing.
One when they start digging with them hands get
Nah,
raw.
brusky. Okay, so this is another thing. How you wash your clothes out there off the grid and in the wild? I got an idea.
Okay, well, you tell me your idea.
Do you have an idea? Because I know.
You use the water out the well and you put it in the bucket and you wash it by hand with a washing board.
With what else?
Well, what you mean?
What you use to wash it with?
The washing board is scrubbing it for you. You got that.
But what you using?
What you mean, as far as soap?
Yes, because I know what you use.
Okay, well, you tell me what you use.
Baking soda and bleach.
Baking soda.
And possibly beef other stuff, yeah.
I don't know if you
because you're not washing the clean, like you disinfecting at this point.
Right,
really.
okay.
You're not trying to get no smell, like this ain't no downy or none of that going on. You off the grid, so you just want to decontaminate. That's what I'm saying, and keep stuff clean. See, I'm gonna use that decontaminate word a lot, You see what I'm saying? You
Right.
gotta understand this when you out in the wild and you off the grid. You don't want to cross contaminate nothing because now you can't use it. Or
Right.
you might poison yourself.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
I hope most people who want to live off the grid knows that.
Not what? Hey man, half these people, trust me, the ones that be saying that be eating Doritos and everything else. And I'm like,
The ones we talking to you about saying they gonna do it. That's
I be
they
like,
eating burgers and shit.
I be like, man, shit me. What grid you talking about, man?
That's not funny, but
It is.
they drinking the soda, eating Doritos. Talking about,
I'm about to live off the grid, and I'm like, okay, because I'm like, can you close a wound?
Right. See.
That's important. Or how would you mend a broken bone off the grid?
Right. See.
What you gonna use for your antibiotics off the grid? I just want to know. Can you fish? Because some people can.
Right. Hunt. What about when
Hunting?
you hunt?
I was gonna say, can you?
Can you use do you know how to cure the fur so you can use it as a coat?
Well, see, that comes in preservation.
Right.
Or do you even know how to set a trap for what you want to eat? Or you might be the trap.
You thinking deeply.
I'm thinking that's off the grid. That's surviving.
I'm just saying that's what they say.
Hey man,
when you
well
ask
you not.
these
I'm
questions.
telling you this now. The only way you gonna have ramen noodles off the grid is if first of all you hoarded some when you left the grid and you got a cast iron pot and you put some of your purified water in there and you boiled it and you put your noodles in there.
And
You still got to go through something to do that.
Right, because the boiling part, you got to know how to make a fire. Who knows how? Do they know how to make a
Yeah,
fire?
well, see, that's the thing. Now you can cheat now because you can get you a bunch of big lighters and some matches
Well, you know they have those
and
strikers
some.
too.
Yeah,
Strikers.
yeah, but you know, but if you ever run out of all of that,
Right. Do you know how to build a
you
fire?
gonna have to knock them rocks in that
Yeah,
or
that-
some twigs and all that,
you gotta
man.
do that,
Get that Boy
that
Scout
bow,
going.
That bow and get them ambers going.
See, man, that's too much work. Don't nobody want to do that. They just want to Uber Eats. Uber Eats in the wild, man.
Instacart.
Get
to
some
the
lamb
wild.
chops out there in the wild, y'all.
They living off the grid.
Jerk goat in the wild, y'all.
Right.
We off the grid.
They
But see,
living off the grid, but Instacart pulling up.
that's not gonna happen, man. No. Oh, and then like you don't know what you may be allergic to out in the wild.
So when these people ask you these questions, 'cause I know we laughing about it, but the way you saying that they asking these questions to you, or saying that they're gonna live off the grid, and then you pose these questions to them, do they sit back and think about
I
the
don't
questions you
pose
pose them?
these questions because this is for this show right here.
Oh, okay.
I thought about me. Well, this is common sense to me. See what I'm saying?
So you don't ask them any questions. You just go, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I know you not about it. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If
I get it.
I mean, really though.
Right.
If you hunt, maybe, you know what I'm saying? If you a vegan, possibly, because at least you've already eliminated some of your hunger.
Okay.
But for those, it's like I say, you smacking on Cheetos and you selfieing everywhere you go, and I'm like, you just sounding cliche.
Okay.
Cause, all right, can you swim?
Okay.
You might have to swim out there off the grid.
That's basic right there.
But a lot of
A
people
lot
don't
of
know that.
people can't. Right. I get it.
Oh, another thing. How do you stop an allergic reaction if you're off the grid? That's gonna take a lot of people out. Let's say you allergic to bees and you ain't got no epinephrine or none of that, no adrenaline, and you get stung off the grid. What you gonna do?
You gotta know what plants that.
Hey man, too late.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You saying you living off the grid? You don't have no herbivore books, none of this type, none of this stuff. No, you're not a botanist, none of it. You just I'm gonna live off the grid.
Think that far ahead though.
No,
Or
obviously
they
they
say
don't.
something.
They just talking.
Okay.
You can look at YouTube and you got an idea and you think you're gonna do it.
Right.
Or they might see somebody with a book bag and they camp for a weekend. Well, that's what we gonna go do. Or they go overseas and have a good time. Oh, I can do this.
But in reality, the everyday life part of that is not the same.
See, that's the thing. Can you do this for the rest of your life?
Right.
You say you want to live off the grid for how long, though?
Right.
And what you taking with you when you do it?
Right.
Because
I don't think they think that far ahead though. I don't think they do.
I mean, well, okay.
People say stuff all the time. You think about the conversations we've had on this
Mm-hmm.
show many a times about stuff people said and asked you.
Mm-hmm.
They say stuff all the time, and I don't think they think that far ahead when it comes to living off the land. That's a little bit easier than living off the grid. Not necessarily that much easier, but you don't have to provide your own water, food, your own water, shelter, or sewer. You get what I'm saying?
Because the next thing I was gonna say is, what's your transportation if you off the grid? After a while, walking everywhere, you're gonna understand certain terrain you can't walk yourself.
You know what? Now
Or
I'm
or
getting
can you
your
build
point.
a raft? You can't swim all the distance.
I'm getting your point. When you ask that question right there,
Mhm.
because a lot of people who live off the grid, those shows that we've seen, still have vehicles.
Of course they do, or a horse or something. I'm
talking about cars. They have
I know
cars.
they do.
I have not
Jeeps.
seen one
I
riding
know.
a horse.
I know.
You
I'm
get
trying
what
to
I'm
tell
saying?
you, man.
So technically, they off the grid to a point.
They're off the grid with technology.
Right.
It helps you cheat a little bit.
Right.
See, I'm talking about caveman type shit.
Oh, okay.
Where now that Bear Grylls where they drop you out in the middle of nowhere with a damn knife and a book bag and be like, have at it, sir.
Or Naked and Afraid where they drop you out there naked.
Yeah. and your man got to climb a tree to go get his first meal.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Ain't nobody ready for that.
No,
they're
I'm
not
not
ready
ready
for
for that.
I'm not. What you talking about?
Why we bullshit?
I'm not even ready for living
that.
off the land, man. What is you talking about? Man, I'm barely ready to go a week without eating, if that.
I like going to the grocery store and catching my food.
Yeah, I'm catching it on aisle 9, y'all. You can catch me at the self-checkout. That's about as far off the grid as I'm going, man.
Exactly.
I'm going to bag my own groceries. I do that.
I'm going to do off the grid.
I do that now. You know what I'm saying? You can take a seat, buddy. I got it today. Because I'm like, they might not even know the poisonous plants or animals that's in the region that they in. Or insects. Them insects might light your ass up. So what I'm saying? Get bit by a black widow at night or something you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you off the grid somewhere.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be careful what you ask for. I'm trying to tell you.
You know, they got those homesteaders in Alaska. We watched a show in Alaska where if you go out to Alaska to a certain place and you stake your land, it becomes your land and you homestead it, but you got to stay there for a certain amount of time before it be yours. So basically, you go out there with a tent and some stakes and stake your land, but you got to stay there in that tent. Whatever.
So you can't leave and come back?
No, you can't go home to your.
Oh hell no!
You got to stay there because you homesteaded, and you got to stay there for a certain amount of time, so they can say it's your land. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
so
you might.
You got to build your own shelter. You got to build.
That sounds like one of them games that you can upload.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I know that.
Serious.
I know. But I mean, you got to make everything yourself.
Right.
Oh, but hey, now here's another thing. Suppose you get pregnant off the grid.
Well, hopefully you know better.
Hey man, you never know, man. Hey, you gonna wanna do a little something off the grid, ain't you? You gonna be abstinent off the grid? What damn?
Well, see, on the Alaska show when they homestead, they fly. They get a plane.
Man, come on, man.
Like a plane to fly them.
Ain't
to
no flying
the
off the
hospital.
grid. Ain't no flying
fly
off
them
the grid.
to the city.
You gonna have to put your pregnant lady on your back and walk. We off the grid now.
You talking about real?
You gonna have to walk to a clearing.
You talking about
you ain't even walking to a hospital, just a clearing somewhere put some fresh leaves down.
You talking about
and get your best spring water.
Caveman, no future comforts whatsoever.
Hey man, where y'all storing y'all food off the grid? I need to know. And how you preserving it?
Right.
I need to know. You pickling your food or what? You know what I'm saying? You got it in a jar or did you dry it out with some salt? You know what y'all got going on. How you do this with your food? And the main thing is you want to stop contamination, as they say. So what you storing it in, because what you storing it in has to be cleansed too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You talking about completely no creature comforts off the grid. That's. I don't think I even seen any shows that deep.
Here's another thing you got to think about off the grid. You brushing your teeth.
Well, you know they use charcoal for that.
Oh man, come on.
Real charcoal.
Barbecued teeth.
Hey, it works. It cleans your teeth.
I'm quite sure it do at some point.
But you know, in some areas they don't have the charcoal in the rocks and stuff. So I guess you got to think about how you do it then.
Bruh, that's the point.
Right.
So I guess you're gonna hope baking soda.
But
baking soda. Where
you gonna get the baking soda from though?
That's what you get when you go off the grid. You get as much of it as you can, I guess. Baking soda.
But if it's off the grid though,
cake mouth.
If it's off the grid, you're not gonna just be carrying a bunch.
Look here, man. You be surprised at what I'ma carry till I can't carry it no more.
I get it.
till I can't carry no more. We gonna have this till it's all gone. And a certain type of thing, we gonna have the seeds too. We gonna always have some emergency seeds to some particular
Slick say
plant.
they gonna brush their teeth with ash from the fire that they burn.
God damn, Slick.
I've seen it.
I mean, well, you know, you got to do what you can.
Hey, there ain't nothing like rolling off the grid, being off the grid, and then you have your wheelbarrow full of
toothpaste.
from Walmart.
Yeah. Hey, man,
Look
I'm
at
trying
meat
to.
I caught before we got here.
I'm gonna make sure I got me some liquor,
Uh-huh.
some whiskey when I go off the grid, as much of it as I can get. You know, I might have certain things that can double this stuff.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna get as much grains as I can get, I guess. I might have me some jerky. I ain't even gonna lie, be a beef
Now
jerky.
they do jerky. Now when they hunt, they process the meat right where it's at, because a lot of times it takes a lot of time to get back to where they're at.
Mhm.
So they process the meat where they're at, and the main thing is getting it back, getting it cured and processed properly too. And then this is another part. Let's think about this part. When they get the meat back and get ready to cure it and make jerky, like you said, they got to keep the bears and shit from getting to it. So how do we
clearly
do that?
Oh, how you do that with a gun? That's how you do that.
If it's in the middle
And
of
some
the night.
dogs and stuff like that. I'm
Right.
sure they have guard dogs that'll alarm them and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I got a friend that hunts, and as a matter of fact, I'm a pick his brain some, because he be like, yeah, I'm an apex predator out there with them, and yeah, he gets boars, and he's like, ain't nothing like getting down in there with it and getting the knife and blah, yeah. And I'm like, okay, bro, I just want a sandwich. When you get done with all that, yeah, I just want to say, yeah, can I get a Reuben? You know what I'm saying? Or something when you get through with all that or whatever, but or a fish sandwich. When we catch that. Now I can do that, catch a little something. But all the gutting it and deboning it, I mean, you know, that don't make me squirmish. You know what I'm saying? If I had to do that, I'd try to do that too. What I don't want to do is mess it up. You done mess the food up and you got to throw it away or something like that.
Slick said they smoke the meat to make jerky.
Ain't nothing wrong with smoking it.
Yeah.
Smoked meat. Now, you know, but the thing about a lot of the times, like, I prefer barbecued over smoke. Like, grill that thing.
You gotta make the grill though. You off the grid.
Shit, you okay? I'll figure out something out.
Okay.
Oh no. Well, all you gotta do is what you do that turn thing. What you call that? Where you steak in here, steak in there, and you rotisserie that thing.
The
I had to do something like that.
The roaster. Okay.
Yeah, like okay. So funny you say all of that, cause see, before I go, it's certain things I'm just gonna have then.
Okay.
Like I'll get me a skewer type thing. I'll find all of that.
Okay.
Cause I'm gonna have to do that. I mean, you know, I guess I end up eating rabbit or whatever, but squirrel and turtle and all this other stuff.
Right.
Cause I'm gonna have it. But that's like I said, you got to get your mind ready.
Right.
I have to survey my land, like what all we got, what all game we got. Cause you get out there and you ain't got nothing on your land to eat, man. If you got that barren land that's deserted, man, you know, then what you do?
Right.
You know.
It might be. You know, a lot of people don't think of all this stuff you're talking about.
Hey, I do though. You know what I'm saying? You sometimes you would have to think of your source of light. Like when dark hit, do you actually want to be in pitch black dark? Really though, I'm just you know.
Right.
So if you do have a particular source of light, then either it's going to be, I would say, generated by battery or oil or fire. Yeah.
So you think? How do you think they're gonna start that fire? Because you talking about power?
Well, I'm just saying whatever you want your source of light to be.
Oh, okay.
It's you, like you say, when you off the grid or whatever, you get to determine your source of light.
Okay.
I would say use the methods that will probably expire on you first. Meaning, like, if your battery might corrode, just go ahead and use them first. Because the last thing you want to do, let's say you use all your matches and you use and flame and you use them up to try to think, oh, well, I got this battery right here, and then it don't even work. It's corroded. So use those. I would use the most natural thing, not natural, but the technology up first. And then I will go for nature, like my Bic lighter and my matches and stuff like that.
Slick nights on the boat. I'm not sure what you mean about that one, but
Nights on the boat. Well, no. I see what Slick is saying. Because we were saying your method of transportation, meaning like, can you make a raft? Like, let's say if you off the grid and everywhere you go, like you got to travel a distance, and it's got to be over water, and you know you ain't gonna be able to swim it all. Like, right. You might have to build you a mini boat or a raft or a canoe or something.
Right, and the darkness at night on water is
you can see.
No,
you can't.
No.
So that moon don't reflect like a mirror.
It's not. It's not like the pictures.
I got you. All right. See.
Pitch black, dark, and I know this from cruising on oceans.
Gotcha.
It is pitch black, dark in certain areas. You can't see your hand in front of your face.
Not a damn thing.
Like
not even eyes. Not even.
You can't see.
So
it is dark.
That goes with kind of like what my dad was saying. I'm gonna go off of this for a second and go on to like, he was in the Navy and he was like, man, before they went up on ship at night, you had to go through this particular room where it had red lights.
Okay.
And that adjusted your eyes so that when you went up, you could see things.
Okay.
So he was like, one dude thought he was gonna do that, go without doing it. He went up there, but he didn't go into that red room, couldn't see, and got sucked through an engine. The end of him, by the way. Right. But so, like you say, you ain't gonna be able to see certain things.
Right. You're not gonna be able to see on them boats. I finally figured out what you meant, Slick. Yeah, when we was on a cruise, you could not see anything.
I'm gonna tell you what I don't like when you traveling in like the sticks, in these urban, rural ass areas. Right. If they don't have a lot of them street lights, all you got are your lights on your car. You cut them out, you literally don't know. You can't even see the street. You don't even know where you're going. You drive. They call it like driving in the abyss. It's almost like driving in water. And it's like, man, like, okay, so picture that, but you out in the woods somewhere, and it's just that dark, but you hear stuff all around you. Right. And so, my guy that say he hunt says he's used to hunting. And I was like, well, what you use for light and stuff like that and all that. And he would tell me like, man, how do you keep things from attacking you and stuff? And he was like, well, that's what you have to understand. You have to understand where you're hunting in the terrain. Who are the predators in the terrain? You could be the apex predator in certain terrains. And it may be bears, wolves, and other predators in other terrains. Right. So he was like, so when you hunt, you start understanding what noise is what. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like what broke that twig? Right. You see what I'm saying? What's that in the trees? Yeah. Okay. What kind of howl that is, or what purring type noise that is.
But he's learned this over years though.
Exactly.
He's been hunting for years.
Yep. Okay. Yep. So he knows.
So you know something you could just like, I can't just say, hey, those podcast over, I'm finna go out and live off the grid.
Oh no. You see exactly, because see what they know is certain animals hunt at night, the nocturnal animals, but they know in a certain region what it can and can't be. Right. So they may be like, what you might be dealing with a bobcat. You see what I'm saying? You might be dealing with an owl. You might be dealing with a mountain lion or something like that. But we ain't gonna know that because we don't be out there like that.
The main thing that I want people to remember is you said he's been doing this for years.
Yeah. So see another thing, like you ain't gonna know what to do. You run up on a wild pig. Them things attack you though. Right. You see what I'm saying? You literally gonna have to unalive one of them damn things. Right. But if you not experienced, you basically like you can get hurt, severely injured out there, or get lost, end up missing.
That's one of those things. You have those hikers. They not even just living off the grid, but you think about how those hikers go up in the mountains and they get lost. And then people got to go search for them because they done turned around 2 or 3 times and they don't know exactly where they're at because everything looked the same.
They don't know how to mark the territory either. Like sometimes you might put a flag somewhere or you do something extra tree. You see what I'm saying? You do something to let you know that you've been there or establish a particular radius that you may not want to go past. Because if you go so far, then they be like, man, you ain't gonna make it back out because we never been this far. Or it gets so to the point where, this is a lot, man. I'm trying to tell you, how do you even walk through some of this? Because when you seriously, if you get off of a beaten path and trail, right, I'm gonna tell you what can happen to you because it's happened to me a couple of times, and this just be these Georgia woods. This ain't even nothing serious. This like nature trail type stuff. All right, so what you don't want to do is you walking and you're not on the trail, so you're walking and you're walking on ground, right? But it's covered with pine straw covered with leaves. You got logs all over it. So next thing you know, you step and your foot go
all the way to the knee.
You like, what the hell is that?
Uh-huh.
You can break your ankle like that,
Uh-huh.
bust your kneecap open like that. You might step into something and then, bow, snake bite you, or whatever. All because you walking on land that's unlevel, and you don't even know because you're walking off the beaten path.
Right.
Just simple stuff like that might happen. Then you do that off the grid. Now what happens?
How you gonna get? See, off the grid is a nice sentiment.
Yeah, it sounds cute.
People think off the grid, but they think off the grid to a certain point. Like they're not gonna get rid of their car. They're not gonna, certain things that they're not gonna learn how to sew, stitch a wound or reset a broken bone or none of that stuff because, they don't think that far ahead. They're not gonna live totally off the grid. Like I said, it's to a point, and then once they get to that point, then it's back to regular civilization. Whatever that point may be for them. See, most people think living off the grid is just water. Like we said, water, power, sewer, maybe their own shelter. It's not connected to any of the county or city or state sewer lines. That they're self-sufficient that way, but they're still not self-sufficient to where they get injured, to where they get hurt real bad. They still got to go to the county. So it's to a point. We all need to know. We all need to realize it's to a point.
Well, nah, the way these people be talking like they want to get away from it all. You see what I'm saying? And okay, well, the only people that I know that did that were the people that's from this land. You see what I'm saying? They had their own little system set up no matter what. I mean, and then you never know what the life expectancy was back then. And you had people walking around with all kinds of ailments. People walking around snaggletooth because obviously they ain't gonna be able to have false teeth. Right. So it's a lot of different things that they would have to endure living off that grid like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, like I say, these people, you got a BBL talking about you living off the grid and stuff like that. Like, I don't, your nails always polished and manicured. Like, you really ready for this? You got in a sew-in wig. You ain't going to be able to have this off the grid. You see what I'm saying? It's not going to be comfortable. And to be honest with you, the people that I saw that did it, and they did it like effective and efficiently, they still had a lot of things that we have. Right. You see what I'm saying? And it's almost like, no. And it's basically like, okay, what they did was they just manipulated the elements better. Like, we're going to go solar power. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But it costs money to do that. It does. You see what I'm saying? It does. We're going to catch our water, which we got these 5,000 gallon 2 reservoir tanks. Right. Who can afford that? Like, bruh, you almost got a city worth of water right there. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? And then you purifying it. You don't purify nothing out there in the wild. You got to know how to do it yourself. You see what I'm saying?
The reservoir water is going through another
rocks
tank
and creeks and stuff.
A system of sand, rocks, and that's cleaning the water. Then it's going through another tank that's boiling the water. And now before you know it, you got a $50,000 system down there talking about living off the grid. Who gonna afford that?
Man, I'm just trying to tell you, I'm sure you living off the grid, man. Damn, you can buy the grid the way you got it. But, and then, they be having ATVs and high power weaponry and stuff. Oh, and then I saw one person, they living off the grid now. But you got like these electric fences and electric wires and rays and stuff so that your bunny rabbits and stuff won't go off the property. Right. Like, damn, nobody got that out there in the wild, do they?
That's not off the grid.
Nah, man, y'all wearing Eddie Bauer off the grid. I thought you were gonna wear, like, you know what I'm saying, some rabbit pelts. Right. Or something, and leaves and stuff. Bro, you wearing bamboo. These folks up here wearing, gray flannel and stuff. I'm like, man, you ain't off the damn grid, bro. You living better than me.
They got them Dockers on with them Jesus sandals. That's off the grid. That's as far as off the grid they going.
But nah, I ain't gonna lie though, cause they went and bought some land, and they went and got that bobcat, and they cleared that land out. Like, if you were to go live off that land, you wouldn't know what to do with it, because, like I say, they built a farm on that thing. Like, literally had baby chickens. The chickens came from the eggs, and then next thing you know, the chickens started creating eggs. Right. They showed you that process. They showed fencing it in. Okay. And they were like, at some point, we're going to get a cat. Like, they're going to literally breed on that land and build it up.
Okay.
But it take money to do all of what they were doing.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I get
like,
what you're saying.
Like a facility, like it's more expensive to damn near have a solar power facility than it would for you to just pay your regular bill.
Solar power is expensive. I guess
At least for the installation and all of that.
Installation is expensive. You're supposed to get your money back in the electrical bill though, but you got to come up with the installation money first.
Then I spent $1 million on the installation. You could have damn paid for the power company for 8 years.
Right.
Or for the rest of your life by the time you installed your solar stuff.
And now it's one place I want to say is in Georgia, but I could be wrong. Where they built a whole farm. They supposed to be able to get each little. I want to say it's I forget what they call those little things, but it's a little house. Each one.
Shed.
No, it's
not a barn.
It's built like a round
dome.
Yeah, it's built like a round. We're gonna call it a dome. Each individual dome.
Okay.
It's a name for it. I just can't think of. Slick probably know the name for it. Each individual one has its own.
Not a pod.
Let's call it that. Each pod has its own solar panel on the side of it. Then they have their own reservoir next on the other side.
I think I've seen something like that.
And they're little white tents, and there's about 15 of them out there. And they got a barn where they harvest their meat. Then they got another barn where they grow their vegetables inside there and all that stuff. So and it's supposed to be totally off the grid, but they still do have trucks.
So now that's the thing, and I think I would rather consult with a true farmer with this, but like growing vegetation in a barn versus growing it in a glass house, like a greenhouse,
well, let's just
or letting it just free. Oh, I was about to say.
I'm sorry.
I was about to say because I was like, what kind of farmer do that with no sun hitting it? How about bruh?
Yeah, well, they need the sunlight.
But you see how I be thinking? I just had to catch that, man. Like, all right, now you feel like, hey, man, I wasn't born yesterday. Now, damn.
Greenhouse. Slick says you gotta learn the land, different flowers, and what they do.
Yeah, you right, Slick.
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about.
Greenhouse. Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, because that's one of the questions that I had posed. Like, how do you know either which plants are poisonous, which plants maybe have medicinal properties, or when to grow them and how to grow them?
Okay.
Some things grow on vines. Some things grow off the ground. Some things grow in the ground, meaning you have to seed it. Some things grow from the trees. So it's like some things grow in a bush.
And some plants will suffocate and unalive the other plants.
Oh man,
you can't grow them together.
You don't want them weeds and all of that around your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna choke out.
And then we talk about growing the plants, but you also have to learn the soil.
Clearly, that. Oh, now see, that's the funny thing, man. Well, when I saw these people, I would say they were living a little bit off the land and off the grid, but I like how they were so self-sufficient.
Okay.
Basically meaning like they would get free wood because they would get the damaged wood.
Okay.
And they would just use that to build the box.
Okay.
Around the, you know what I'm saying, the vegetation. Then they had rabbits. So they used the rabbit manure for you know what I'm saying, their fertilizer for their vegetation. But check this out. They had pigs, and they used the pigs pretty much almost like to till the land.
Okay, to clean it.
Yep, they're going to eat the grass and all that other stuff. And then once they did that, once the pigs did that, they went behind the pigs and threw seeds out there so that they can, use their own water that they caught, then, repeat the process. And for whichever part of the land they wanted to do that, they would just clear it and then get the pigs to come and do that.
Oh, okay.
So
and it made for good vegetation.
And so what you do, you're going to start seeing, you'll see a recycling process. Meaning, like, obviously, you can have your chickens bear more chickens for you to end up eating at some point, or bear more eggs for you to cook with, stuff like that. They ain't get into growing any corn or none of that type of stuff. Because at some point, it would be interesting to see what they would do for the pigs to eat, besides, whatever slop they would have.
Right.
But,
that sounds like a pretty good system.
It is.
Just to get started, I mean.
And see, that's what people who are trying to go off the grid, they tell you really what you're doing is you have your own micro system. Because we have a system. Right. When you're on the grid, you got a sewer system, a water system, you see what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So you're going to have these type of things if you want to live off the grid. You're just making them yourself. Right. So you want it feasible for the size land you have, or however you feel like you want to get rid of your waste.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But now, like I said, these were things I didn't even really know till I just started looking into it, kind of like today. Some of it sounds like common sense when you start asking the questions.
Right.
Because you have to look at like what you go through on a daily basis.
Okay.
And so if you're gonna take yourself out of this, then you gotta understand what happens to you on a daily
You got to
basis.
replace it too.
Yeah, because you're gonna take yourself out the grid. Then what happened if you the first day you off the grid, you trip and fall and cut yourself, or sprain or break a finger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now what do you do?
Right.
Do you know how to splint it? Do you set it exactly? Sometimes you need to have MRIs because you don't know, you might have a blood clot going on. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful. Would you recommend somebody elderly live off the grid?
I would not.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? If you have ailments, I wouldn't recommend you live off the grid.
Right.
You got diabetes, I wouldn't recommend. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Right. Because there's a lot of things that you have to deal with living off the grid.
And you're sacrificing
and you're
a lot.
working every day. Let's get that clear. You're working the land every day because you've got to make the things that you need yourself. And you're not going to make everything you need in one day. Let's just get that clear.
No. And see, that's the thing I was going to say. All right, so the land that you pick, that you choose to live off the grid on, does it have a shelter structure? If not, right off the rip, you got to build that. Now, so what they were doing was they wanted like a shed type structure because they off the grid, right? Does it really make sense to build a house off the grid? Because your house going to have plumbing and electricity, don't it?
Yeah. Now, I seen one in Alaska where he was homesteading, and this guy had built a house that was amazing. Like, but he had a wife and kids, so he had built like a 2-level house. They had sauna and kitchen and everything, and like he had a real big house. But, and we'll get to this part, and I'll save it for later. He built a real big house. He had a nice land and everything. He had all the tools he needed and all that stuff. And his house, he had a big house, but he was homesteading, so that meant that he was going to stay there. That's going where he's going to eventually live forever.
So, here's the dilemma that you're going to have if you want a house off the grid. What your foundation going to be?
Right. You got to build it.
Basically.
And pour that and make that concrete.
That you know that costs, right? That's a slab.
Yeah.
So you're going to build all that. You might as well just be on the grid. Now, you want to live off the grid, you're going to build a shed, a hut, a little something. You know what I'm saying? You can build something that resembles a house, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be a house.
Right.
And then when you do that, okay, you're building it. So right off the rip, do you know how to do that? Do you have contracting type skills?
Right.
You know, and if you don't, then what you going to do? How you going to build it? What's gonna be over your head, basically. You could try what they did, like in Castaway. Go get a tree and try to put some makeshift stuff. That ain't gonna work.
Lean to what's not gonna work for the long term.
No, because you're not gonna be protected from the wild.
Right. Most definitely not.
All right. So when the cold come, what you gonna do? When the winter time come? Now, do you have 4 walls around you and something over top of you? Because one thing you definitely gonna have to do in the cold is chop some wood.
Right.
And then you're gonna have to make that. You're gonna have to keep chopping wood and keep it. And you're gonna have to make sure it's not wet.
But you know the we talk about the cold, but you know it could be cold it could be 80, 90 degrees in the daytime and be 40 degrees at night in some areas.
Now you're gonna have to build a fire.
Right.
Still, or wear some skins.
Yeah.
But you gonna cut that bear up. Who gonna unalive the bear to get the skin?
Right. Yeah.
And who know how to get rid of the bear meat and all that other stuff?
So let me ask a question. These people that say this to you and you just go, okay. Do they even think about, you living off the grid, but you got to get started. Do you stop working to live off the grid, or do you keep working in order to fund the grid?
What they be saying is, I can't wait till I get enough money, I'm gonna move off the grid.
That means they ain't gonna never do it.
I know they not, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, what? Are you gonna get land that's habitable or land that's inhabitable?
Right.
Are you gonna move off the grid in a marsh, a swamp somewhere? You do. They got some swamp people now.
But you still need money. You still need money to build some of this stuff.
I'm from swamp people.
Right.
Now I got swamp people in my blood.
Right.
But I don't know how to live in those
swamp.
Right.
Right.
Man, look here,
and
bro.
I don't think I want to.
Hey, but see when you out when you off the grid, water could be your worst enemy.
Most definitely.
I'm trying to get your clothes wet.
Put your fire out. Get out of fire because it's been raining for 14 days and everything around you is
your food
soaked.
get wet.
Right. Mosquitoes coming out because the food is wet. Now the bugs is out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You fresh meat. Oh wait, yo, you ain't got no deep woods off now.
And you covered in.
Oh
and
man, how you
mosquito
get away
bites,
from these insects?
Slick say sand flies.
Whatever.
They don't know how bad the sand flies can
Hey
be.
man, whatever's coming after you.
Right.
And then, oh man, trust me, you don't want to just sleep on earth, on the ground.
On the ground.
Hey, because things slither and come out at night.
Mm-hmm.
You might end up getting bit by a spider and all this other stuff. You want to at least be off the ground, some inches off of the ground. So what you sleeping on? Off the grid.
Fire is the most important for survival and living and security from animals.
Yeah, fire will scare them away to a degree.
Right.
But hey, but you also got to understand too, fire also lets people know your location. It also gives you away. Bears, everything know what fire is. Right. Animals know what fire is.
They ain't gonna come towards it.
They may not, but they know you there.
Right.
So guess what? They also know when fire is threatening to them, right? Mm-hmm. So they know when that fire is contained. Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna. In other words, what I'm saying is that fire may not always keep that bear at bay. Or that animal that know what's got going on. Unless you lunge the fire at it. You see what I'm saying?
Depending on how hungry they are. They'll come around you.
That's what I'm saying. Well, and they'll wait. Yeah. They know, man. That mean, you know. Some of them animals are smarter than you are in that aspect. Because you haven't lived off the grid long enough. Right. They off the grid all the time.
Every day. That's their life.
Yeah. So you got to understand that animals might be smarter than you unless you do some hunting.
Right.
I'm just saying. I look at that thing realistic.
Right.
I'm a realist.
Really think about when they say
and I want to survive. So
I'm finna live off the grid.
If I say I'm living off the grid, I'm coming a little bit prepared. I'm gonna have my list of what I at least know I need.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna do some research on that thing.
Research,
right,
as my daughter would say.
Before we just go off the grid all willy-nilly.
Willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you gonna want some pain meds.
But can you take pain meds if you're living off the grid? That's all the grid
with
thing.
Some water, I would.
Well,
I'm gonna take. Remember, I said I'm gonna have everything till I run out of it.
Okay, but see, that's where learning the plants come in at.
Yeah, it do.
Because a lot of the meds that we take are made from.
This is what I had to learn when I was studying pharmacy and medicine. Mm-hmm. Okay, the reason why some of these things have to have milligrams and some of these things have to have directions and instructions is because it affects everybody differently with the way you metabolize something, your weight. Mm-hmm. What I might take, you might not be able to take. Right. So when you go out there in the wild and you start eating something, just because it helps someone else, that same thing that they eat might make you convulse. Right. Or you may not know how much of it to eat because y'all different. Right. It might take a whole plant. It might take you half. You don't know. You might be eating it and don't even know that it's helping you. You might be eating it and don't know that it's harming you because it might take a certain amount of time. And then when that happens, it's too late. Because guess what? You off the grid. You don't have time to reverse it. I'm just saying, man.
Right. So you just sit and for sick's sake.
How do you know what's inside you when you don't have an x-ray?
Right.
That's where I'm serious, but that's where all the touching came from, and the listening and the putting something up to you. You see, all that came from all that. The putting your hands here and all that. You know, that's the most primitive method you got. But that don't always work. You still come out the damn hospital hurting like hell, but he done touched every part on me. He done touched me up, and it didn't. I'm still hurt. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It don't, that didn't mend my bone, bro.
Right. I get it.
So. I just think that there's a reason why we're not necessarily always off the grid like that. Like why we've advanced, you know. Right. We don't have to have all this technology that we have now. Right. But man, I'm living kind of I'm comfortable now, man. Hey, yeah. I don't want to catch everything I eat.
True.
I don't. True. I have to skin it. You know what I'm saying? And ration it out.
Only thing I want to catch is a sale on what I got.
Yeah, you know that a sale on what I'm eating. Yeah, you know, but and I ain't gonna lie, you know, I fished before. I've caught some fish. Right. Did I skin it and cook it? No.
You caught it and pass it off.
Let somebody else do that. Yeah, I'll catch something for you.
Right.
But the rest of that,
Yeah, I'm not fishing. I don't want to fish.
And I'm not finna go snatch it out the water and just bite it and be
Right.
like, this that sushi, that protein. No. We gonna put it in the pot, boil it or something. We gonna put some fire to it, fire to the flame, something. We gonna take the scales off of it. We doing something. Take the poop sack off of it. We doing something.
Right.
Besides,
Right.
yeah, like what you Smeagol or whatever that dude is from Lord of the Rings, like, nah, we not doing it that way, bro.
Yeah.
Not today.
It
Not
looks
today.
good and it sounds good.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
it's
I'm
not.
gonna be off the grill with some Lowry seasoning salt. I'm letting you know that now. Till it's all gone.
You don't get no seasoned food off the grill.
But yes, you do. Till it's all gone. Then I'm gonna be that one. He be like, man, how the hell he got it? This man got a Butterfinger. I'm gonna be like, hey, you never know. This is in case of an emergency. I'm trying to tell you. Yep.
So what are some of the other things people don't think about when it comes to living off the grid? We've talked about some of the things that I really haven't even thought about.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the other things that you think that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to living off the grid? When we're talking about truly off the grid, not up to a certain point.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. It be little things to be okay. So like, what you gonna eat off of?
Mm-hmm.
So do you? Mainly, they would suggest that you either have like 1 or 2 plates or something, but you know you're gonna have to clean those. So now you're wasting your water and your soap. So do you want to have your throwaways? You see what I'm saying, like your plastic utensils and stuff like that.
But then
You got to debate on
the
that.
land.
You got to debate on that. That's
Or
what
you
I'm
can
saying.
Eat off cedar planks.
Ain't nobody finna eat off no damn plant.
You gotta eat cedar planks, like
Cedar planks.
Planks, like when you cutting wood.
And that absorbs your food and stuff. Now you're gonna have ants and everything else coming
you
to
gotta
you.
figure out how you gonna do this.
Hey, that's what you got to think about when you
Slick
living off
say
the grid.
clothing.
Clothing. What you gonna wear for clothing?
No.
Is that? Huh?
What
You eat off your
wear,
clothes?
No, what you want to wear for clothes.
That's what that's another thing you got to think about. Big, you ain't gonna be able to take it all with you.
Right.
So, I would take the heaviest stuff I could take. You can always take clothes off, but you can't put what you don't have on.
Right.
So, hey man, you're gonna need some covers.
Y'all gonna go for
And I'm gonna tell you this: it don't matter how much clothes you got, how much covers you got. If you ain't got no heat, at some point in time, you gonna be cold. Mm-hmm. Sleeping on the ground, wherever you sleeping at, you are going to be cold. That no heat shit don't work.
There's no way around that.
You're gonna have to have some fire.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that.
Right.
Or you might freeze to death.
Right. No matter how, no amount of clothing is gonna keep you from being cold.
No.
Then you start sweating and it's cold.
That's what I'm saying.
Then you can call pneumonia.
And then where do you put your clothes? Because something may take them. Or where do you put them where they don't get weather worn and beaten? Where the sun don't, mess them up.
Some areas it rains a lot.
Or here's this: you don't want insects getting in your clothes.
Then you put them on and you get eat up.
I'm just trying. Hey man.
Yeah, I get it.
Be surprised. You be like I say, you outside now.
Right.
You in the wild. You off the grid.
Well, hopefully when you get off the grid, you have a plan on building shelter because that's the most important thing. Besides fire, shelter
All
is
right,
the
so
other important thing.
now here's the thing, right? When you build your shelter, does it have a door to it?
Slick says carve eating utensils, then cure them with heat so you can use it over and over.
It don't work. Cause here you go. When you use it, you gotta clean it. Once it's used, you contaminate it. You got
wash.
Man, you gonna wash your. Okay, now, all right, you do that, and here you go. You
People
eat
wash
something,
stuff in the lake
and
now.
next thing you know, you got that microbacteria in your mouth, and now you got gangrene in the jaw.
People wash their clothes in the lake all the time.
That's their clothes. They don't eat their clothes.
I say eat with your hands. Wash your hands.
I'm gonna do exactly as much as I could. Yeah,
right, right.
Hell, I eat with a stick if I had to. It's a
wrap
stick.
it around the stick.
That stick
put it on
ain't
the
gonna
fire. Eat it. Throw that stick away.
Yep. That's what we'll be doing for a while. Make a fork out that thing.
Right. Shish kebabs.
Something.
Yeah.
Spear. Pow.
Okay.
Whatever you got to do, man. But so now we just gone straight primitive. Now we ain't even off the grid no more. We done went back to cave.
Already went there.
Yeah, I did though.
No trunks or nothing.
I'm trying to tell you, but that's
primitive.
cheating though. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so here you go. This the thing. This why I be like, you're not making no sense, right? They want to live off the grid with a truck, right? Where you driving to? You off the grid. Where
They
you
driving
going? Where's
to
your
the grid.
destination?
They driving to the
You
grid.
driving to the grid. So you just go hop.
Right.
You back and
They
forth
hopping
this thing.
back
You
and
hopping
forth
scotching
through
off the
through
grid and shit
like
now.
the Matrix. They hopping
Nah,
back
you
and forth
can't
in
do
the grid,
that.
out the grid, in the
No,
grid, out
no. Like you say, all right,
When
you
they
off
wanna
the
go
grid. You gotta stay
Longhorn,
off the grid for a maximum of 10 years to prove you can live off of it. A decade.
When they
You can
wanna
live
go
off.
Longhorn, they
If
go
you can,
on the grid. When
if
they
you-
wanna-
yeah. It's about, hey, we going along. Oh no. So here, this how this go. No cell phone off the grid now. None of that. No PS, nothing. No PS5, no none of that.
No
So
TV.
none of that.
Now we done seen
None of that.
off
You
the
don't
grid
even
with
know
no
who in the
TV.
finals. You don't know who going to the Olympics. None of that. You don't have. You might not even know who president. You off the grid. You don't want to know all that, right? That's why
Right.
we off the grid. So that's the off the grid to me.
Right.
Now,
So how do you entertain? See, let's go to that.
how you
Let's stop
entertain
there.
yourself off
How
the
do you
grid?
entertain yourself? You got the
You
shelter
make
bill.
stuff.
You done figured out how to. You done figured out how to cure your meat, you fishing, your clothes.
No.
Your
All
fire.
right. So
How do you entertain
this how you
yourself off the
entertain
grid?
yourself. You doing all of that. It's entertainment. Fishing.
you
Man,
got a
it's gonna
system
take you
now.
some hours. Nah, ain't no system. You gotta get your
You
ass
got
up
a
out there
pole,
and fish.
You got a pole out there. It's catching. You got a net out there,
See,
and it's
okay,
catching
now,
the fish
all right,
for
now,
you.
all right, now. I'm glad you said that because see, that's a serious ass gamble. You don't want to do that.
Right.
You don't want to gamble and leave your pole out there for 4 hours with whatever light you got going on, thinking that your pole caught the fish and you didn't.
Right.
You need to be on the end of that motherfucker and feel that thing jerk and pull that thing back and catch the fish. Catch the food. You ain't got time gambling with it and playing with it.
Right.
All right, so like I said, that's part of the entertainment right there.
Okay.
All right, cooking it. That's the entertainment too. It's gonna take some time
Let's
to
say
debone
work
that
the work
thing.
is the entertainment. What you talking?
I'm just trying. Exactly. That's the entertainment, bruh. Staying alive is the entertainment. What was
my
that
God.
noise?
Oh
Hey,
my God.
what was that noise? Is the entertainment? Oh shit!
Don't say staying alive is the
Somebody-
entertainment.
Hey! Look, Chad, you be like, what was that? Hey, what noise was that? What kind of snake is that? That's the entertainment, man. Is that a bear or a fox?
So what we
Is
gonna
that a
do?
coyote?
Play name the-
How many
play name the
coyotes
noise.
is that? Is the entertainment? Name the sound. Name the predator.
Oh my
That's your
God.
entertainment for the night. Shit.
I don't think I want to do that.
Well, you say you want to live off the
Name
grid. It
the
ain't no
predator.
sports center off the
Name the
grid, bro.
predator.
You out there with the real wolves. You talking about the Timberwolves now. You got the real wolves and the owls out.
Name the predator.
Yeah, you
I
want a
like
rattler.
That was
You-
hilarious.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. Y'all can have that off the grid,
You're
man.
right.
I'm staying. Give me the
I need a
hotels.
little bit more funner than just to
More
work
funner.
to be
See,
entertained.
this is
Entertain
off the
me.
grid to me. It's just traveling to another country and enjoying myself and coming on back.
Okay.
I don't need to be out there in nobody's woods. Now I have spent some time in the woods before, but see, it's like I call that sanctioned off the grid where it's a cabin,
Right.
and then you got a path and a trail.
Right.
If it's a garbage can somewhere on that, you ain't in the woods.
Okay.
If they got a recycle sign somewhere
Uh-huh.
around,
You ain't in the woods.
I don't care how many miles you gotta walk. If it's a garbage can somewhere along the line,
Uh-huh.
we call that ain't the
That's
woods.
civilization.
That's camp.
Okay.
That's a camping ground.
Okay.
That's not off the grid, bruh.
I got you.
No, because see, on the camping ground, that's somewhere on the map. So if you lost, they can call it. They can tell you what kind of camping ground you on. They gonna find your little black ass. Off the grid. Off the grid ain't no camping ground, bro.
Right.
Ain't gonna be. You ain't walking up on no bench or nothing like that. You know where you can sit. You know how them camping grounds got. You walk. Next thing you know, it's a whole little. You can sit down. It's a picnic ground. Like damn. You might even walk up on some food somebody stashed for you.
Right.
You can
right.
get lucky on the camping ground. Off the grid.
Ain't
You
no
might
luck.
be food.
You the
yeah,
food.
yeah. You gotta make sure you not the food when you off the grid.
Okay.
That's how that is.
Okay.
So that's how we living.
Okay.
So we got them kind of questions. See,
Okay.
I'm talking about survival questions because when bruh man called in, I felt every ounce of his pain, bro. When he was like, when he said in the streets collapsed.
Uh-huh.
So how you getting out?
Right.
Ain't no coming in, ain't no coming out.
Not till they build them streets back, them roads back.
So what you do?
Right.
Man, it be people, man, they open up their door and they see a gator in they kitchen
Uh-huh.
in water. So you know everything gone anyway. The shit spoiled, power out.
Right.
You can't eat what's there unless it's some chips or something like that, man. So
Even
what you
at
do?
that, it's soggy.
If it was a yeah.
Right.
So what you do?
Right. How do you make it? How you survive?
How you make it to something you can eat, and then
Right.
how you get up out of the city.
Right. Right.
And then this what you don't understand. It could be some stuff running wild around out there that's hungry too.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Dogs get hungry. You don't know what they might start doing, biting each other and shit. Cats running around this motherfucker looking all crazy
You
and stuff.
got gators out there.
Gators too, man. Yeah. Oh man, and then next thing you know, you walk in the little spot and drop in it because it's you walking and it's up to here at first. Next thing you know, it's up to your neck and you don't know what's around you. You see you see a little snout coming to you.
Yeah.
Damn all that, man. That's
that's
forced off the grid,
and
though.
that happens when people are off the grid. I've seen people walk and try to get across like oh it's not that deep, and then all of a sudden drop and their head go under.
Well, hey man, I'm gonna tell you this. See, this is another thing, cause I used to have to run through them woods. Okay, so right off the rip, if you're running in the woods pitch black, you don't know, man, tree branches, bam. You could trip over the tree branches. Like I said, man, we used to jump over creeks. So I'm gonna tell you, it's already happened to me. Running full speed, jumped over the creek, cleared the creek, feet went straight into the embankment. Boom, because it's muddy sand. Tree tons all in the damn. Man, I had to run with the tree tons in my hand.
Because they was covered in mud.
Cut red clay, bro. Man, and they came up out them things, ran up out your shoes, bro.
Wow.
At nighttime, you can't see this. So you think you finna be doing all this stuff off the grid at night, man? No.
Slick say, but you're hungry too. Now you eating rats, squirrels, and all the other animals you usually don't eat.
But see, that's the thing. Like when you run out of your food, then what do?
Right. And that's what she said.
And before you run out your food, you need to be hunting.
Right.
And you need to be surveying. But see, that's the stuff you're supposed to be doing before you go off the grid. Like you got to know what's on the land anyway. If it ain't nothing but squirrels on the land, that's what
you gonna eat.
Squirrels and muscadines. Shepherd's pie out of that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm
not off the grid, man. Hey, I didn't say I'm not off the grid material, y'all. I need my baby back ribs.
I'm sorry.
And all that. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was born on the grid.
Yeah, y'all drive right on past me, man. Go on here, drive right on past me when doomsday come. I'ma thug it out with some Jack Daniels and some runts.
Right.
And whatever Uber Eats and food I can get first.
Right.
Then
Then we'll see what happens after that.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when all the grocery stores are gone.
Right.
Then I go into survival mode.
Right. Like what's that movie Will Smith was in?
Oh, I Am Legend or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he was the only person. Damn near.
They thought.
Yeah, they thought.
Yeah.
Eating Twinkies and shit.
All the deers running around and all that stuff, and basically the doomsday happened, and basically the wilderness start taking back over again.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing, because we already know that life can sustain itself without us.
Right.
So, living off the grid, that's another thing. You're not landscaping. Yeah, seriously. You're not. So what happens?
I'm not gonna edge my line.
You off the grid, bro.
Right.
You gonna run out of gas at some point. I ain't seen nobody. What you seen somebody go to the woods with a lawnmower? You seen a lawnmower in the woods? I ain't. So what happens when your shit start getting overgrown?
You gotta use that. What they call that?
Machete.
Yeah.
And start chopping shit down and stuff.
But you don't want it to overtake you.
No, you don't. But
Right.
see, do people think about that though before they start going off the grid?
Nah.
Oh, they don't.
I don't think people who throw out
Well,
I want to live off the grid really thinks about off the grid. Like, come on, right?
I mean, but you literally saying that. That's what you telling me.
Right.
So what? You just like using cliche terms and don't know what the shit really means?
That's why you be telling them, all right, bro.
Yeah. All right, yo, off the grid got a swimming pool, don't it?
Right.
It'd be like, man, you do know off the grid mean that how you gonna bathe?
Right. No deodorant. So,
Nah, but that's what I'm like. How you gonna bathe?
Right.
That's the first thing I want to know.
right.
You off the grid and got baccarat, bro? Come on, man. Who you fooling?
You you can bathe, but you got to take a chance in that lake with everything
That's what
else
I'm
that's
saying.
in there, and all
That's
the
what I'm saying.
parasites.
And the lake water ain't even really clean. What you
Right.
gonna bathe with? Soap? You could try the soap. You can put soap with dirty water on,
Right,
but like,
right.
I mean, I don't know.
Right.
And then, okay, do you really want to go in that lake if you got a cut? Come out that bitch with gangrene.
Some kind of parasite, or some kind of.
Oh, what happened if you get a
parasite.
toothache off the grid?
You just in bad. You in a bad situation.
Man, you're gonna have to get it up out of you some kind of way.
Right.
But didn't I say you had to take some painkillers, right?
Right.
I know what you can do for a toothache off the grid,
Right.
but you gotta have some amoxicillin. See what I'm saying?
Right.
You ain't got to necessarily. I mean, there's some things you can try. Some honey. You know,
It's
you
a
could
class-
try.
but it's
You could
just-
try. You could try some holistic things, but
Right. I'm finna say
at
yeah.
some point, bruh, it ain't gonna work. What you gonna have to do is take something natural and knock that shit out.
Right. Like I was about to say,
like
some
a
plants.
natural rock, a natural stone, and get it up out your mouth. Cause it ain't but so much you're gonna be able to put to knock that nerve out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To get that nerve to stop. Once
Right.
it start getting to the core, I can tell you that now.
Right.
You can try all you want to.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work.
It's not.
You're just gonna be in pain every day till you figure out what to do about
You're gonna
it.
be in pain off the grid. That's all I'm gonna say. All I'm going to say, bruh. But you know, a lot of the people have septic tanks when they get off the grid, but that costs. See, I ain't talking about no septic tank. Your septic tank is your shovel. You know, where you gonna dig at today,
Right.
or where you gonna throw your poop at.
Right. And you gotta throw the poop.
Not only that, but once again now, see, when you're out in the wild, you have to understand that is marking territory. That is that's a signal that you there. So if it's something that's aggressive and something that's violent and something that is a predator, they know you there.
Yeah. Slick say they made penicillin with mold.
Yeah, what mold you gonna get though?
Which mold, right? It's not just any mold.
I thought it came from like milk or something like that, or bread or
molded
something.
milk,
like,
molded bread.
something like that. Some kind of. I have to look into it, but it is from mold.
Oh, okay.
But see, that don't mean just go out there and eat a moldy something that you see molded and that's gonna work.
Right, right. Because that could kill you. Or
And it can unalive you.
It can unalive you.
It can unalive you. And then you gotta watch for mushrooms and things like that.
And yeah, see that's the one right there. People think all mushrooms are great and they're not. You gotta know the difference.
But remember that story I told you about? Oh, and remember I sent you that about those what was those monks that wanted to experience nirvana,
right?
And they ate all that tree bark to get all the toxins out
of
the
system. Yeah,
we wouldn't know that though.
Right.
Oh, and they had to eat something. They did something else before they did that though. See what I'm saying?
I can't remember.
I can't remember what they did either. They drank something. Oh, they drank poison ivy basically.
Okay, and then they used
the tree bark
to soak up the poison ivy.
All that other kind of stuff, whatever. But so these are the type of things that I ain't gonna do and I wouldn't know.
I know I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna eat no tree bark. What are you crazy?
No, but I could tell you this though, like just by me looking at this, and I can tell you, man, them folks that say they living off the grid, right? If you have a hut and you have a generator, if you got a flashlight, you're not like them people overseas that's doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like the ones that be the ones that really be catching their food and they have the leaves around them and shit like that, and they have the ink and the dye on their face and stuff. They don't have that shit.
Right. But you know, the people in Alaska that homesteads that be in Alaska in the wild, they don't have any of that either. They actually torches. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll take some cloth off whatever they got.
Oh yeah, and then use some oil or whatever, sea oil and all that. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And then they literally be eating whale blubber, and then they'll have to make a skin out of what they.
I've seen one
they
guy.
Recycle it.
He had he had caught a moose, and he had built an ice chest
with the bones.
No, with he dug ice out because a ferret kept getting there eating his food.
Oh wow!
So he built an ice chest out of ice, and he was in Alaska to keep the ferret out. And then he made a little trap when the ferret go in there to try to get the meat, if the ice would fall down on him.
So check this out though. A lot of them, they even use the bones because they'll use the bones for like weapons, and sometimes they'll make structures with bones. Think about it.
Slick says y'all didn't do the mold on bread thing in science.
Yes, we did, Slick.
I didn't do that.
Hey, man, that thing. Yes, man. Look here. I put so much water. Don't get me started on Southwest Middle School and that mold and all them spores. Let's just say we tried to get the computer to mold, Slick. We poured water on the computer. That's all I'm gonna say. All you heard was
right.
So yeah, we got the bread to mold and all that.
Slick says that's why we got 2 big ass plant foods and natural remedy books. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you do.
You can eat thin strips of tree bark if you don't have food.
Damn.
Bear fat can make candles and it burns slow.
See, that's the thing though. Now I will say this.
She is a true.
Because
she's one of those people who apocalyptic.
But that's one of the things that about an indigenous person that you can learn so much, man. Like living off the land means living off the land.
Right.
And I mean like the animals, you living off the animals too, because you use the animals to their excrement and stuff as fertilizer.
Right. You don't waste
or you
any
use
part
their
of
pelts.
it.
Exactly. You use their bones for certain things. You can see certain keys made out of the bones or stuff like that. You know, it just be interesting. Or they, like you say, it might be part of a trap. Or they use their scent. They keep some of the bone and pelt for scents to bait areas.
Or to keep people out, keep predators out. Yeah.
So it's just different to see how they recycle as opposed to how we recycle.
Right. Because when they catch an animal, they have to use every part. They can't waste anything.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, and nowadays, we throw all this stuff out.
We throw chicken bones.
That chicken still got the gristle on that thing, man. Yeah, I'm talking about still got the membrane and everything on it. And they using the bones as a whistling card to make a whistle out that motherfucker.
Right. They making bone stew and all that stuff. When we throwing, still got meat on.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, but hey, shit, man, we'll throw a hot wing away in a minute, man. They up there making instruments out of this bitch. Man, they got a full-fledged guitar out of a chicken bone and stuff. But hey, that's why I say sometimes like I'll talk to my dad, man, and he'll tell me like, some stories about like my great grandfathers and stuff like that, like they like Seminoles and stuff. And I just look, and when you research that history, I'm like, man, damn, like living in the swamp, man, like that's life to them, and they know how to do that, but we don't.
We definitely don't.
I kind of want them skills though. Like I got builder skills,
Right.
But not the skills where you can go irrigate something or you take your tree. Well, I ain't gonna tell that lie. I did know how to make a bow out of trees and bark and shit like that at one point, but I don't now.
Those are skills that you have to learn early.
Yeah, you do.
You have to come out the chute learning that stuff in order for it to take it for you to remember how to do it.
Yeah, it's like clockwork.
At my young age, old age, I won't be able to retain that stuff if I start learning. I mean, if I had to, I probably could. But those are skills that you learn early in age. When you 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, they start teaching you this stuff. When you can walk, they start teaching you these things.
Yeah, like when you were part of a tribe, you had a little job you did. You had your chores that you were doing. Then I guess as you got older, the chore would advance.
Right, you go foraging, you do all that stuff. It's a rite of passage. We don't have those rites of passage, so we got to go to Walmart.
Well, okay, so while we still have a little bit of time left, although we may not necessarily be living off the grid material, living off the land material, what survival skills do you say that we have that we can pass on to, the youth or to each other that in a crisis or a catastrophic time, maybe it can help someone survive, or it can extend at least living halfway comfortable until help comes or until reinforcement comes.
Right. I think the one skill that a lot of people need to really think about and really need to learn is adaptability. You have to adapt. I mean, I know this is not necessarily a skill, but it is a skill. You have to be able to adapt to any situation and any circumstance that may present itself to you. I mean, it's just...
So...
And you got to be willing... got to be willing to do whatever it takes to adapt to whatever your situation is. That's one thing for us who has not been raised off the grid or who has been raised off the land. We have to know how to adapt, because if we get stuck in the way, like I ain't gonna do that, we're gonna starve to death if something happens that where we need to live off the land.
I'm gonna tell you the one thing that I think can help everyone, or that helped me at least, and they don't do this a lot anymore. I don't see this a lot. Critical thinking. Like when we were growing up, we had a lot of critical thinking problems.
Right.
Even if they dealt with math and how many apples this man got, or if he traveled this way on north at this amount of time and this coordinates, and he traveled here east, how do they meet in the middle? Yeah, all this other kind of crazy ass shit that I definitely still don't know how to do to this day. But one thing it did teach me how to do is separate certain things, which is the most important, and focus on it.
Right.
All right, so at least critical thinking, a lot of times the main thing I would say is patience, and then assessing the situation.
Right.
Because whether the situation is negative or positive, it has to be assessed. Assessing something take amount of time to it. So if you're going to assess it rushing, then you might overlook something, or leave something behind. If you assess it, something like sometimes you can't take too long to assess something either, because it's like, damn, bro, how long it take you to assess that? Now she failed. You know what I'm saying? You know. So, but with all of that being said, then the how can I say, the critical thinking factor, it at least to me unlocked, or it made you use some common sense to it. Because you had to have you using common sense, because you got to figure out a complex problem. Seriously. Right. So you had to realize right then and there what you knew out of it or not. Which is you. All right. So with that being said, not to say that a lot of adaptation evolves around common sense, but it does evolve around something that will be innate. And common sense is innate because you're supposed to be born with it. So now you start triggering what's innate, which should be able to help you at some point. Right. And what I mean by that is, okay, adapting to a situation if someone put you on a cliff or high up. So your common sense or innate is going to be like balance at some point or something. Or height and depth, you know, you're going to be looking at it like, okay, maybe I don't need to be so close to the edge, because you already know that's probably a fall that you're going to break something or might not be able to survive it. Right. So then how do you get down starts happening? Adapting to this particular situation. Right. Do you stay up or do you figure a way down? Right, right. But either way it goes, you're going to start, you know, you're going to try to figure it out. All right, now that you're on the edge, you look around what you got. Do you have a tree? Do you have vines? Do you have clothes? Do you have something you can wrap something around? You see what I'm saying? Right. Is there something you can hang on? Can you swing? Is there a cliff, like levels to this down? Like meaning if you drop one level, you can survive, and then you drop another level. If you drop, is it this? That's the end of it. Right. You know, all these different things, you know, come into play. I say with the critical thinking part. Right, right. So, oh wow, look at that. We just almost talked up on. It's about that time to go. Yeah, and I see some folks tuning in too, man.
Give them shout outs.
All right. I see Sanchez, man. Chezzy, I already know what time it is. Right. He probably laughing right now. I ain't gonna say his real name. All right, then I see Tanisha.
Don't give his government.
What's happening, Tanisha? That's my boy Hawk or Furious, whatever. Coop. And sis checking in again for like what 2 weeks straight. Sis, man, that's my road dog. What's up? I need to go ahead and holler at her one time offline then. Right. But yeah, so I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. Like I say, this was basically, do you think you ready to live off the grid or off the land? Most of us aren't, but it's good that we had a reality check. Now we do know some of the limitations of what we can and we can't do. Right. And with that being said, I'm gonna piece this thing out and I'll see y'all next week.
Yeah. Shit. Grams leaders CC's pounds. Close cash, close call, close encounter, close up, pounds of leaders of grams, get your dough like to move and make the most of. Monday night at 8, I can't wait to set you straight. These opinions and debates, for them folk they can't relate. I got to elevate your mind through these signs of the time. Dishing out that medication for that death, dumb and blind. And I ain't hard to find, you can catch me in no trenches. I do the groundwork and I ain't waiting on no sense. I be touching on them topics politicians fail to mention. And I don't vote for nobody that ain't got good intentions. I'm relentless for my people and I'm here to make a change. I got that true serum hooked directly to your vein. Hey, this is for my people, tune in, catch a close up. Close up, close up, a close up, grams of it. Tune liters of it, close up, pounds of it. Pounds of it, yeah, grams of it, liters of it, pounds, get your dose,